ZoeNet Nation, we won. Adrianet Nation, we also won, and then we technically kind of lost at the same time, so yikes. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's the one and only, your girl, the Cartoon Hotspot, and in today's video, we are going to be analysing the episode Adoration. Now, Adoration is episode 17 of season 5, and like my previous analysis, I'll only briefly summarize the events of the episode and then spend more time talking about key moments that stood out for me. If you're interested in my thoughts, then stick around, give this video a thumbs up, and for new viewers, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell button for post notifications. Without further ado, let's begin. The episode begins with Zoe and Andre talking on the balcony about his love for Audrey and how he pretty much changed himself for her, which is absolutely not a flex at all, but that's exactly why he advises Zoe to never bury her dreams and tell the person she's in love with exactly how she feels before the school year comes to an end. The next day at school, Mr. Damocles announces that the end of the school dance is approaching and 2 class representatives are needed to organize the event. Zoe is selected for the 8th grade class and Marinette is selected for the 9th grade class. After Marinette gives a complete tour of her room, the girls decide that the perfect venue for the school dance is the Eiffel Tower. They go to ask Andre for permission, but are encountered by Chloe, who refuses to let Marinette in the hotel. Zoe then stands up to Chloe, much to her annoyance, and Marinette is shocked to see how confident and bold Zoe is, considering a few months ago when she first arrived in Paris, she was timid and a pushover. And Zoe states that Chloe doesn't have that power over her anymore, and it's all thanks to Marinette, who helped her change. Andre approves of the girls' plan to host a school dance at the Eiffel Tower, unbeknownst to Chloe, who is listening to the entire conversation. Meanwhile, Adrian asks his dad if he can go to the dance with Marinette, but Gabriel refuses and gives him an order that he would not attend the dance. Natalie then counters the order, and can I just say, I absolutely love seeing Natalie challenge Gabriel. You go, girl. Zoe and Marinette are talking, and Marinette discovers Zoe is in love with a 9th grader, but is afraid to confess her feelings. She jumps to the conclusion that Zoe might be in love with Adrian, and she panics. Chloe and Lila formulate a plan to get rid of Marinette, whereby Sabrina has to steal a couple of items and frame Marinette. Sabrina refuses, and Chloe immediately kicks her out, referring to her as her underling. Only this was completely planned. Lila predicts that Sabrina will get akumatized, and she does, into Vanisha, who follows Zoe and Marinette all over Paris, where the girls are collecting a few bits and pieces of what they would need for the school dance. At every location, Vanisha steals some items and plants them into Marinette's bag, where Chloe exposes her in front of her parents, Mr. Damocles, and a few other people. Marinette is then expelled, but Zoe takes the blame and admits she stole it in order to protect Marinette. Ladybug and Cat Noir soon arrive and defeat Vanisha within no time in order to prove Marinette's innocence. And at the end of the episode, Zoe confesses to Marinette that she's not in love with Adrian, but is in fact in love with Marinette, and has been since the very first day they met. Marinette responds by saying it's an honor to be loved by Zoe, and in return, Zoe advises her to tell Adrian how she feels. But of course, Gabriel had to ruin it, as always. And that about is the entire episode. Now that we've summarized the episode, let's first analyze the ZoeNet confession scene. Now, I know what a lot of people are probably thinking. Everyone is in love with Marinette, it's so unrealistic, this is so forced. But I'd actually argue that Zoe being in love with Marinette isn't random, isn't forced, and it makes complete and perfect sense. Fairy Zoe on Twitter made a thread on this, and I'm going to read it out whilst adding my 2 cents here and there. We know that Zoe was in a boarding school and got bullied because she didn't want to pretend to be someone else anymore. With this episode out now, we can safely assume that Zoe's bullies were homophobic. It's because of this that Zoe made the decision to move to Paris, no matter how unsure she was of that decision. And there, she met Marinette. Her whole world quite literally bloomed. Zoe hasn't been so well welcomed somewhere for so long, and her first interaction with Marinette quite literally changed her life. One of Marinette's many admirable qualities is that she knows how to make someone feel safe and comfortable. Knowing that Zoe only just moved to Paris and probably doesn't have a lot of friends, Marinette invited her to meet all of her friends, so Zoe can settle down easily and feel less lonely. Zoe never had more than one friend, who happened to be Jess from the New York special. And yes, this was actually confirmed that Jess and Zoe were best friends, which means that to Zoe, coming to Paris and making a friend so fast was something totally unexpected. For the first time in her life, she could finally be herself and everything would be alright. until she met her half-sister, Chloe. It was then that Zoe began acting like Chloe to gain her approval, because Zoe's perception of love was heavily flawed. The approval and love she wanted wasn't real. If you have to pretend to be someone you're not just for approval, that isn't love, it's superficial. Hence, she got akumatized into Soul Crusher.
I wanted to be an actress. I'm good at acting. But then I found myself acting all the time, playing these different roles, trying to please everyone. I just want to be accepted for being me, the real me. And now it's happening all over again. I just can't.
But even then, Marinette stated,
Zoe, no one will judge you here. You can just be yourself. You might trip, you might fall, and there'll always be someone to help you back up. I'll always be there for you.
Which is all Zoe has ever wanted. Furthermore, every moment Zoe spent with Marinette made her learn and grow a lot. And this isn't to say that Zoe's character development revolves around Marinette. No, Zoe has her own character outside of Marinette. However, by accepting her feelings for Marinette, Zoe accepted a part of herself that she had been hiding from everyone, an action that limited her in being her full and authentic self. If you think about it, Zoe and Marinette are pretty similar, which is why they bonded so quickly. They've both been bullied, and they've both had to learn to stand up for themselves. And I'm completely here for it. Zoe-nette for the win. And sure, Marinette is in love with Adrien, but that doesn't really matter given the context of this scene. All that mattered was Zoe was true to herself and expressed her feelings. She even encouraged Marinette to do the same. She's supportive and kind and only wants Marinette to be happy. That's love. As mentioned earlier, full credits for this section of the video goes to the amazing Fairy Zoe, so be sure to follow her on Twitter because she also happens to make a ton of banger edits as well. The last thing I want to talk about is the Adriennette confession scene. When Marinette stops Adrien, she states that her hair is a mess, she's not wearing her princess dress, there's no fancy music or rose petals everywhere, but despite that, it's the perfect time. And then she tells him that she loves him. I think this is huge growth for Marinette. Marinette is very dreamy, for lack of a better word. She easily gets lost in her fantasies and she forgets to focus on what's right in front of her. She forgets to focus on the present. But also, her fantasies are an escape from her fears, her fear of getting rejected, which is why for the past couple of seasons, she spent most of her time formulating convoluted plans just to say 3 words. That's her sense of control. Without feeling that she has everything under control, she immediately feels scared and makes everything way more complicated than it needs to be. She even admits this back in the episode Glaciator 2, which I've spoken about in numerous videos. The point is, she finally did what needed to be done. She finally faced her fear. However, Marinette is pretty unlucky in this scene, as when Adrien is about to kiss her, Gabriel suddenly says no, forcing Adrien to take a step back. I've seen a few people point out how the camera tilted slightly for this particular scene, and don't worry, of course I've got you. I actually happen to take a cinematography class in university, so I can finally put my knowledge to use. This is called a Dutch camera angle. By skewing the camera angle diagonally, it indicates unsteadiness. A Dutch angle gives the audience an unsettling feeling. It's supposed to make the audience feel the same emotions as the characters. When Adrien and Marinette are about to kiss, suddenly Adrien stops and expresses that something doesn't feel right. And that something is Gabriel controlling him through the ring. And where does the scene cut to? That's right, it cuts to Gabriel straight after, and we immediately feel uncomfortable. We're supposed to, and so does Marinette. We, the audience, feel uncomfortable because Gabriel is literally dictating what Adrien can or can't do, even going as far as stopping a kiss. The worst part is, Adrien can't exactly explain why he feels so uneasy. He just walks away. And for Marinette, it's uncomfortable because she had finally gotten over her fear of rejection and confessed her love to Adrien, only for Gabriel to get in the way again. And she's probably wondering, did I do something wrong? When that isn't the case at all. But luckily at the end of the episode, Tiki reassures her that she did what needed to be done, and that's all that matters. And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think Adoration was an enjoyable episode, and I can boldly say that Zoe isn't a useless character, contrary to popular belief. But now I want to put it to you guys. What did you think of the episode? Loved it? Hated it? Let me know down in the comment section. But as for today, that's it from me, and I'll see you again next time.